All these buildings ahead of the bus all started off about 130 years or so ago as townhouses. And when they were built, there'd been nothing in front of them except green fields. They're no longer houses, they're now used as offices by solicitors, surveyors, architects. There's a couple of banks, there's a restaurant.
This is number 2.
And several of them are used now by the university. Now have a look at this stone building coming up on your left. This was built by the fellow of the Marquis of Bute as a townhouse for the manager of the Cardiff docks, Sir John McConaughey. A few years ago it was converted into a private club.
No, we have a nice towns. Senegal. You're the manager there.
The Church of St. David, there are loads of services. Now if you leave in Germany now, that was a very quick visit. You're back home in Scotland, John Freed's place. Named after another member of the Bute family, the Earl of John Freed. The car park on your left is worth a mention. It holds 1,000 cars right here in the city centre. About the middle of the 19th century, South Wales discovered it was sitting on vast cottages and halls. The problem they had was getting it down from the mines from the north of the town down to the docks. The only means of transport at that time was by horse-drawn barge down a very long canal which had been opened in 1797. But that journey took the horse and the barge anything up to 2 weeks for the round trip, which was too slow. So they decided to build a railway. And they engaged Sir Brunel, the well-known engineer of the time, to design and build them that railway. And that opened in 1837. About the same time there was a potato famine in Ireland. The Irish were told there was a lot of money to be made here in Cardiff, so they came over here in their halls. They lived in abject poverty, but poor though they were, found enough money between themselves to build their own Catholic church. That church has now become known as St. David, a Roman Catholic cathedral here in Cardiff. Extensively damaged during an air raid in World War II, but quickly restored at the end of the hospital. On our left-hand side are Cardiff's magistrate courts, and very conveniently placed across the road on the right is Cardiff prison. The original part of the prison was built about 150 years ago, and at that time would be outside the old town boundary. It's been extended several times since then, now holds 750 prisoners. When we were building the Millennium Stadium, which you will see later on in the tour, it was necessary to demolish several buildings that were in the way. One of those goes about 50 meters. We had to 1958 Empire Games, now of course known as the Commonwealth Games. Another building to go is the Cardiff branch of the Territorial Army. And the building ahead of the bus there on the left is where the local branch house is relocated. The right building on the right is part of the University of Glamorgan. And coming up on your left is an old pub, like the prison. This was built about 150 years ago and would be one of the places frequented by the Irish. This is the area of Cardiff where those Irish people settled. On your right now is our hospital known as Motorpoint. There we have pop stars from all over the world, including of course our own on our right hand side now is our new shopping area, opened about coming up on your left now, one of the latest hotels to open in the city, Radisson Blu. Now in front of the hotel you can see a statue. That statue is of Jimmy Driscoll, one-time British, European, Commonwealth featherweight boxing champion. Why would his statue be in front of this hotel? Well, on this corner site on the left used to be the boxing club where Jimmy Driscoll learned his sport. As we turn now, we're going to go under two very low bridges. And I'm just making sure everyone is sitting down. Don't lose any of you. That old derelict building on your left used to be the offices of the Welsh National Opera Company. They've now found accommodation in the new theatre complex in the Bay Area, which you will see in a few minutes' time. On your right-hand side is what used to be the northern end of the old docks. This is another of our stops, this time for the hotels in this area. On your right-hand side, first of all, Evening, a budget-type hotel. Then we have Novotel. When Novotel opened in 1989, it was in fact a converted docks warehouse. This modern dock has been ever since. But as we go through these lights, if you look to your right, you will see the old warehouse, still part of the hotel. About the end of the Second World War, the demand for coal around the world grew less and less. So the Cardiff docks, which had been built during the 19th century, mainly to export the coal, fell into disuse, and in fact very quickly became derelict. But in 1987, the Cardiff Bay Development Corporation was formed, and it was their task to regenerate, refurbish, and rebuild the vast derelict area. that time, 24 years ago now, they built over 6,000 residential properties, like the one we see across the road to your right. Full of houses built with roads, restaurants, bars, water on your right, which is the Cardiff Business Centre. It's another mile in length, folded one time, with the Allied Steel and Railway along the bus ahead of the bus is one of the latest hotels to open in this area, Future Inn. That's part of a Canadian consortium of hotels, and it was the first one the consortium had built in this country. Now, as we go round the roundabout, ahead of the bus is one of the last remaining operating dock tickets. And there's a ship tied up there at the moment. The biggest thing important into Cardiff these days, would believe it, is coal. We have no mines operating in this area now. The coal we use comes from either Russia or Poland. You've probably heard of the stop of the Atlantic. He wanted to be the first person to reach the South Pole. But he was picked at the coast by a Norwegian called Raoul. But it was from here in Cardiff on the 15th of June 1910 that Scott and his friends set sail on their ship the Terra Nova. Most of the adventure was financed by Cardiff business people. And as we go through these lights in a moment and go past the next building on your left, at the end of that building, if you look to your left through the gap, you will see the tiny harbour from which Scott and his friends set sail. Years ago, Wales voted by a narrow majority for devolution. And the building ahead of the bus on the left of the flax line is the National Assembly for Wales building. In there they decided here how to spend the money allocated to them by the central government in London. Now when we go through these lights we're going to turn right, and on your left hand side there is our new theatre complex, the Wales Millennium Centre. In there we have a theatre which will seat 1,950 people. Also the home for the local radio, the home for the Welsh. Ahead of the bus is the Red Dragon Centre. In there we have a bowling alley with 26 lanes, a cinema complex, a nightclub, restaurants and bars, a casino. It's also the home for the local radio station, Radio Capital. But ladies and gentlemen, as we go through these lights in a moment, this is the first stop of our tour in the Bay Area. So if any of you want to get off, have a look around, something to eat or drink perhaps, this is the best place to do it. If you are getting off, I just remind you the buses will pass here every half hour during the afternoon. The last one will be here this afternoon, 25 minutes past 5. There you will find shops and many restaurants. Chinese, Italian, Greek, French, Indian, Turkish, Welsh, and a Harry Ramsden fish restaurant, all found in the same area. And this is another of our shops now in the Bay area. Anyone who want this spot? No? Yes? We have some people coming down there. Coming. Now this stone building ahead of the bus is the old pilotage office. And if you look at the top of the building, you'll see a lovely old weather vane in the shape of a fishing trawler. It's only about 50 years or so since Cardiff was quite a busy fishing port.
I got that video camera.
There you can do all sorts of clever things like make a square bubble, or perhaps even launch a rocket on the moon. If you look to your left now, you'll see a building there with an odd-shaped roof. More about that in a couple of minutes. Cardiff had the second highest tide in the world. Each tide is 89. Cardiff is known now as the International Sports Village. We have our 50-metre pool. We are to have a permanent ice stadium. They're currently building a large hall for indoor sport. And just over a year ago now, they opened the white water feature to enable people to practice their skills with the kayaks and canoes. All these facilities, and there will be more, have been built to Olympic standards. And when the Olympics come to London next year, several of the international teams have already indicated they will be using these facilities here in Cardiff as their training camps before they go to London. On your left-hand side you will see a brick wall, and on the wall is a mosaic. That's to honour the tens of thousands of merchant seamen who over many years have used the port of Cardiff. Again on your left is a school, the Mount Stewart Primary School. This is the area of Cardiff where many years ago families that came back with the ships that had been taking the coal around the world, this is the area of Cardiff where those families settled. And generations later, those same families still live in the same area. Their children are now educated in this school. Well, I found 11 years or so ago, the headmistress of the school, whose own family originally came from Jamaica, retired. And when she did so, the children had a cake made for her. On the top of the cake were flags of 24 different countries, each one representing the children she herself had taught during her time at the school. Now, as we go past the Misty Cafe Bar on your left, look down the road to your left, and on the left-hand side of the road you'll see a large building. That's the old coal exchange building, and it would have been in there. Nowhere else in the world that the price of coal would be fixed. As we go through this next set of lights ahead of us, you'll have a good view of the main entrance to our new theatre. On the outside are two inscriptions. The one on the right is in English, but the one on the left in Welsh translates, "Truth forged the light of glass in the furnace of inspiration." Now we're coming now to the last stop of our tour in the Bay Area. Any of you want this stuff? No one? No one? No one? No one? Okay. On our right-hand side is a building known as the Shed. In there you will find arts and crafts which are being made here in Cardiff. We're on Lloyd George Avenue now, which was built as a direct link between the Bay Area and back up towards the city centre. And ahead of the bus, as far as you could see, there would have been nothing but railway sidings. 170 miles of railway sidings were found in this area, full of wagons of coal waiting to be loaded onto the ships.
That's an old
In
railway station.
1913, 11.5 million tons of coal was exported through the port of Cardiff, making it at that time by far the largest exporting port in the world. Built during the last 20 years. On the other side of these properties on your right used to be the Cardiff West property, and that was built in 1973. Now over on your left hand side is the area of Cardiff known as Pride Bay. Those houses over there have only been there about 40 years. Before that there was a row of tiny terraced houses. And still is multi-residential area, necessary therefore to provide many churches. On your left hand side now you can see the twin towers of St Mary's Church in Wales. That's the Anglican church serving this area. As well as that we have a Yemeni mosque, a Greek Orthodox church, and several other churches of different this building 7 years ago was a potato warehouse, now being converted into luxury apartments. Well, we're going back now under our two low bridges, but we're all sitting down, so okay. Now ahead of the bus is the latest square to be built in the city, and the statue overlooking the square is of the second Marquess of Bute, and for the benefit of those people who joined the tour halfway round, it was the second Marquess of Bute during the 19th century that began the development of Cardiff by building the docks and exporting vast quantities of coal. When the square opened 11 years ago, it was called Bute Square. But 6 years ago, they changed the name to Callahan Square, named after Jim Callahan, the Labour MP, who for many years had his constituency here in Cardiff. As we go through this next set of lights, this is our stop for anyone wanting to go shopping. Any shoppers on board? No? All keeping your money in your pocket, that's the way to do it. Okay. Ahead of the bus is an old pub, the Golden Cross. That's a listed building, and when it was refurbished 17 years ago, some of the tiles on the outside had to be replaced. and they have to be specially made to match the originals. On our right hand side now is the Marriott Hotel. Before the Marriott was built, that used to be the site of the Cardiff fruit and vegetable market. Ahead of the bus is the latest hotel to open in the city, Maldron, also the largest hotel in the city, 215 rooms. We're in a very old part of Cardiff here known as St Mary Street, and just at this point used to be the southern gate of the old town boundary. In this area we used to have two theatres. On your left hand side in a moment you'll see the Philharmonic. That was a variety sort of theatre. And a bit further on, again on the left, just before the lights, the Prince of Wales, where you could watch ballet or listen to opera.